Hey everyone, Josh here. So people ask me all the time, how's the market doing and what do you think it's going to do in the future? As for what it's doing right now, it really depends on what your goals are. If you're looking to get into your forever home, you're going to stay there for 10 years plus, could be a good time to buy, get a good deal on a home right now. If you're looking for something more short term, say 2, 3, 5 years, and you're financing it, you really need to look at the overall cost of how much it's going to be for the term that you're going to be there versus how much it would be to rent, and then also how much you could possibly resell that home for when you're ready to move. There was an article came out from HAR saying that home affordability is the worst it's been in at least 20 years, and I saw another one the week before from the Wall Street Journal. It was saying that there's never been a worse time to buy, and that the reason behind that is that mortgage costs are 50% higher than rents. But you also have to keep in mind that rents are going to keep going up no matter what. I'm going to make another video about that. I dug into it a little bit, and for the most part, it is true. If you're just looking at payments, it's a little bit cheaper to rent right now, but you're also not getting any appreciation with it. So as far as what the market's going to do in the future, it's mostly driven by interest rates right now, and I have no idea what the interest rates are going to do in the future, but I can share with you some estimates from Wall Street and the Federal Reserve. This is the Fed dot plot, and this is, I also call it Fed futures, and these are estimates of future Fed fund rates. And the Fed fund rate is what banks use to borrow money from each other, and it also influences the number that banks borrow money from the Fed. So we can see right here at 2023, we're around 5.5, 2024 around 4.5, 2025 3.5, and beyond that around 2.5. So this isn't always completely accurate. They do have a tendency to overshoot their estimates, and the blue line here, that's just the median number. So they are predicting a decrease in Fed funds rates, and this does relate a little bit to mortgage rates. And this chart shows that the red line is the Fed funds rate, and the blue line is 30-year fixed rate mortgages. So depending on what's going on in the economy and how the Fed policy changes, there is some correlation between these two. We can see here during 2020 and on, pretty strong correlation. And mortgage rates are actually more influenced by the bond market, specifically the 10-year Treasury note. And that's what this chart shows. You can see there is a very strong correlation. And a lot of times the bond market is sort of a leading indicator as to what's going to happen with mortgage rates. So if you're into stocks and charting and everything, you can try to predict it if you want. But there is a good correlation there. And if we go back to the dot plot, let's just assume that this is going to be right and these two are correlated. Let's go to 2025, and they're predicting around 3.5%. So if we find somewhere where the Fed funds rate was 3.5%, probably here around 2019, we can see the mortgage rates there were around 4.5%. And this isn't exact science, it's just a little bit of speculating. It's kind of fun to look at. But there is a possibility that within the next couple of years, the rates could come back down to a more manageable level. And it really depends on what's happening in the economy. The Fed, they have a tendency to adjust things when something's broken. Let's say unemployment's too high, people can't get jobs, or looking at a recession. They'll cut the rates to make it cheaper to borrow money, trying to influence people to spend more money and rejuvenate the economy. And when they overdo it, they cut it back, and they tend to overshoot every time they do it. So that's when we kind of see this back and forth with everything in the economy, especially recently. They've been trying to get inflation under control, and it hasn't been working too well. So they've been raising rates, and they're going to do that until something's broke, and then they're going to pull it back. So as far as trying to guess when that's going to happen, I have no idea. I'm curious to see what's going to take place after the new year, especially with the news about the possible credit downgrades and other things. But something to keep in mind if there is a large rate cut is there are a whole lot of buyers sitting around waiting for this to happen. There's a lot of people want to buy houses right now, but they're holding off because the rates are too high. So right now the inventory levels are kind of low, and if we did see a massive rate cut all of a sudden, then all these buyers are going to hit the market. They're all going to be fighting over the same houses, and the prices are going to go through the roof. We're going to have the same thing that happened a couple years ago. Houses going 15, 20,000 over asking, multiple offers, waiving inspections. All this madness is going to start up again. So keep that in mind. Anyway, that's about it for today. If you're buying, selling, leasing, or investing in residential properties or land in the Houston area, I'd be happy to help you out. You can call or text me 832-280-8340. We'll see you next time.